Welcome to another episode of Leno's Garage. Today's car is a 1968 AMX. Fascinating car, kind of American Motors version of a Corvette, if you will. Pretty powerful. Why is it pink? Well, this car has a fascinating story. I remember this car when I was 18 years old. Mark Melvin. Well, come on in. Mark, you're the owner of this car? And you got your AMX shirt on, so you're in the AMX Club, I imagine?
Yes, sir.
Now, before we get into the history of AMX, tell us why it's pink.
Well, the story of this car starts 5 years earlier than 68 in 1964, when Playboy started giving their Playmate of the Year a car, which they all happened to be pink.
Right.
So the fifth year in 1968, Playboy went to the factory, American Motors, and ordered this car, and they wanted it painted Playmate pink. That's the official name of the color of the car.
Okay.
And they awarded it to Angela Dorian, the 1968 Playboy Playmate of the Year. This is her grand prize car.
I think I remember her. Here's her picture. Of course I remember her. I was 18, yeah. Now, as Playmate of the Year, she kept this car for a long time, didn't she?
Yes.
How many years did she have it?
She had the car from 1968 all the way up till 2010 when I bought it.
Wow. And was it still pink?
Well, actually, all of the Playmates changed the color of the car. They drew too much attention to them.
Yeah.
Cops, for example, would pull them over to get an autograph.
Right.
Guys would follow them home.
Sure, sure.
So every Playmate, including this one, changed the color of the car. This Playmate first changed it to chocolate brown,
Right.
then a silver, and then finally, 20 years later, to black. It was black when I bought it.
And then you put it back to pink because you hopefully want to be Playmate of the Year one year.
Yeah.
No, but then what happened? Then I think, isn't she currently in jail now? Isn't that the story?
Yes.
She shot her husband.
Yes. There was a problem in the purchase of the car where there was no title to it.
Right.
And so I kept hounding the car lot where I bought it. Hey, I need the title of the car, and it wasn't there. So I had her name, phone number, and address. I was ready to contact her directly, and then I got an email one day saying that she just shot her husband. That's great. Now how am I going to talk to her?
Right, yeah. Yeah. That's a typical car guy. Forget shot the husband. Listen, I need the title.
Yeah.
See, that's a true car guy. Forget the dead husband. What we need to. So she's in prison now.
Yes.
Okay. So, and you've got the car, and you returned it back to its stock configuration. Was it hard to do? Were the original wheels still with it? Were all of this?
There were original wheels like this. They were in very poor condition as the rest of the car was.
Okay. And were you in the AMX Club before? Is this your first AMX? Tell us about it.
No, this is my second AMX. I have another one that I bought when I was 18 years old.
All right.
I still have the car today. I've had it 38 years.
Wow. Okay. Well, don't shoot your wife. You got 2 more years, so be careful. You know, That's terrible. Is yours an automatic also or a 4-speed?
My car's a 4-speed.
Oh, 4-speed. A 390?
Actually, a 401.
Oh, 401. Okay. Was it available with the 401?
No.
Okay. You put that in. Okay. Now, did you do the restoration on this car? Did you have it done?
No, I had some friends in the club help me.
Oh, okay. Now you have a friend, Alan. What is his job?
Alan was the main chief mechanic builder of this car.
Alan, come on in. How you doing? Hi, Alan. How are you?
Great. How you doing?
Come on over here. Tell us a little bit about what it took to restore this car. How far gone was it?
Very poor condition.
Yeah.
There was not a straight panel on it. The only part that was straight on the car were the windshield pillars from here down to the bottom of the windshield.
Okay.
Other than that, the quarter panels were damaged, the doors were damaged, the fenders were damaged. We had to replace the hood, the left fender. The right fender we had such a tough time finding that we actually rebuilt the original fender. So the quarter panel on the right side was all rusted out at the bottom, which is typical of AMC cars.
Right.
This side had a rip in the quarter panel that I had to hammer weld and put back together.
Wow.
The rear panel of the car, it had been rear-ended, and the rear body panel was pushed into the gas tank, and it actually collapsed the gas tank.
Oh, geez.
So those panels were all removed and straightened, as well as the crossmember on the radiator support on the lower front side was damaged. It was totally separated from both frame rails.
Now, are you an AMC guy? Is that your main place of interest, American Motors cars? You just do everything?
Well, as Mark said, when he was a teenager, he had an AMX.
Right.
And I had an AMX when I was a teenager
Oh,
also.
okay.
I had a 394 speed car.
Right.
And then when I moved out to California, my dream was always to get another AMX. 3 or 4 years before Mark got this car, I had just completed mine.
Oh, okay.
And I did a full rotisserie restoration just like this one.
Okay. Tell us, I am not real familiar. I mean, I remember when they came out and I thought they were pretty cool. I thought it was really neat that American Motors built essentially a two-seater sports car. Are they really a sports car? I mean, do they handle it pretty well? Or is it more just like a traditional car with a sporty body?
Well, this car was designed as a sports car from AMC to compete with the Corvette.
Right.
And in 1968, when they took this up against a 1968 Corvette, the Corvette was just a few seconds faster than the AMX.
Right, okay.
But it was a very competitive car. And AMC has a lot of drag racing history. They had built 53 SS drag race AMX cars that were 10-second drag race cars.
And I remember the Rebel. Remember that car? That was sort of like their Chevy Nova with the big motor in it, basically.
Yes.
Same type of setup. So let's open the hood. Can we see what it looks like under the hood?
Sure.
Is it all stock under the hood?
It's all stock.
Was that the idea, to put it back to exactly as it was?
We tried to put the car back as closely as possible to the original state of when this car was sold on an AMC lot.
Wow, look at that.
So,
Boy, you really did a ground-up restoration, didn't you?
yes, everything.
How long did it take you to do the car?
I work a full-time job, so I did this 2 years on the side, weekends and weeknights.
So it says Typhoon 290. Is that 290 horsepower? Was that the horsepower in the car?
It's a 290 cubic inch engine.
Oh, 290. Oh, okay, 290. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought it was a 390.
AMC uses the same engine.
Yeah.
They have, in the 68 AMXs, they have a 290, a 343, and a 390 engine, which is the engine blocks are very similar on the outside, but there's just the internal workings, the stroke and the bore is just a little bit different.
Oh, I just assumed this was a 390. Yes. Okay, so it's a 290. Okay.
Yes.
And what's the horsepower on this?
About 230.
And 3-speed automatic transmission, right?
Yes, and AMC used a lot of different parts. This car has got, it's got a Borg+Warner transmission in it.
Okay.
It's got a Ford starter in it, and it's got a Ford AC compressor on it. It's got a Delco Remy distributor, and it's also got a Ford power steering pump and a Saginaw steering box.
Oh, okay.
So AMC used a lot of different things.
Yeah, because that was kind of getting near the end there for AMC, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Late
well,
60s,
they went to
early
other
70s.
manufacturers to build the car, make it.
And obviously is that dual master? Is that stock?
That's a dual master. It's got power disc brakes on the front.
Okay. And it came with power disc brakes on the front, right?
Power disc, yes.
Yeah, well, beautiful restoration. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Did you have to have this paint mixed special?
The paint is a really interesting story because we didn't have any of the pink paint on the car to really take a spot of to match the color. One day when I was stripping the paint off of the car, I happened to take the underside of the deck lid and put some paint remover on it.
Yeah.
And I found a spot on the deck lid where the paint was not adhering to the pink paint.
Right.
And when I put the paint remover on, it just lifted the paint right off of the pink. And, and then we just polished the pink, and I ended up taking the deck lid down to a paint store and having it
very good.
color matched.
Cool, cool. Well, I always thought these were nice looking cars. And this is just decorative here. There's nothing here, right?
Yeah, this is just the emblem, and American Motors Experimental is what the X standed for. It was an experimental car.
And your gas filler is where? Under the?
Well, the gas filler is actually right underneath the license plate.
Okay.
It goes right in here. And then the car did have dual exhaust.
Right.
The tail lights are from here over. This is just an appearance panel. There's no lights in that at all.
Right, okay. Now, did that fold down or no? That doesn't fold down.
No,
right?
that doesn't fold down. That's just a divider panel between the trunk and the passenger compartment of the vehicle.
But it's a pretty good sized trunk, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
It's a nice sized car. What is the wheelbase compared to a Corvette? Is it about the same
I
size?
believe it's 109 inches.
Okay. Okay. There we go. Let's take a look at the inside of the car. Come on, let's check out the interior. And these are still pretty reasonable, aren't they? These haven't become real collector cars yet, so you can get pretty good deals on them. It's a nice looking car on the inside. You got your
8-track tape player.
8-track Cat Stevens. Look at that. 8-track AM, automatic, tachometer here.
Air conditioning,
Air conditioning.
tilt wheel.
Tilt wheel, look at that. 120-mile-an-hour speedometer. Boy, you did a nice job on the restoration. Have you taken this to any AMC shows?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. How long has restoration been finished? Just a short time?
Very short time.
Okay, yeah, just before you got, like you just, it's still tacky, the paint is still wet here. Okay. So you just finished it like an hour, they just finished this an hour ago. I mean, it's an impressive job.
And then, you know, AMC always had numbers on their cars.
Yeah.
They would always number them. And because this is the Playmate car,
Right.
they actually took the Playmate plaque for the numbering and put her measurements on it. And her measurements are over on the dashboard.
Oh, all right. I think those are measurements back in 1968. Probably not the
Right.
measurements now. You might have to change the serial number a little down. Yeah. That's pretty good. Well, very nice. Mark, come on in here. How many miles since the restoration?
Well, there's about 2 miles that I've driven it up the street for a little impromptu private photo shoot.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, let's, can we take it for a ride today?
Sure.
Let's give it a shot. There you are.
So in 1968, the Playmate, she's a celebrity in her own right now. She is Playmate of the Year, and she met Roman Polanski.
Okay.
Roman Polanski gave her a part in his movie Rosemary's Baby,
Wow.
and while filming that movie, she met Roman Polanski's wife, who was Sharon Tate.
Right. Okay.
So you fast forward 1 year to 1969 to the Mansur Murders.
Sure.
I've heard this from one of the Playmate's friends. I've also read it online. I haven't heard it from her directly, but the story goes that while filming Rosemary's Baby, the Playmate and Sharon Tate became best friends. The night of the Mansur Murders, Sharon Tate invited the Playmate to come up to the house for a party that night, but the Playmate stayed home. She wasn't feeling well, and that's why she's still alive.
Wow.
The Playmate would have been one of the ones.
Yeah.
So Roman Polanski was in London directing a movie at the time. He came home for his wife's funeral. He met up with a Playmate who was his wife's best friend, and Roman Polanski gave the Playmate his personal handgun for protection, because the Mansur Murders were unsolved for 9 months approximately, I understand.
Right.
So she put that gun in her purse for 42 years. 3 months after I bought her car, she pulled it out and shot her husband.
Wow. You know, you want to buy a car with a story, but that's a real story. I mean, that's pretty crazy. And then she got what, 9 years? But he didn't die, the husband.
He survived.
Okay. And now, so she went to jail for 9 years. And when she gets out, you're going to take her for a ride in the car?
Well, I was thinking it might be fun to be waiting at the prison gates when she gets out and give her a ride home.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fun. You're not married, are you?
No.
No, see, no married guy's wife would, honey, I'm going to meet an ex-Playboy Playmate at prison and give her a ride home. So you have to be single. That's a single guy's story.
When we were cleaning the car out, taking the seats out, we actually found a bullet under the seat, which is the same caliber of the gun, reportedly that she used to shoot her husband, which was the James Bond gun, Walther PPK 380.
Yeah. You know, drives very similar to a 60s Mustang, late 60s Mustang. Very nice restoration, very solid. No rattles and bangs, everything kind of drives nicely. But you haven't even driven the car, you've only driven it 2 miles, right?
About 2 miles, yeah.
So this is the most miles anybody's put on this thing.
This, more or less, is the car's first public appearance.
Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I can't imagine when you take this to an AMC show, it's just got to be the hit of the show. It's pretty amazing. It's probably one of the most famous AMXs, isn't it?
It has a reputation, it's been in books.
Yeah. Yeah, see, the kickdown's not working, so we kick it down by hand. There we go. There you go. And shift.
After this car was awarded to her, it was her daily driver. It was mostly hidden from the public for 42 years until I bought it.
Yeah.
So now that it's restored, I want to share the car with the world, with the AMC community. I don't want it to be hidden for another 42 years.
Yeah. No, I think that's
I want
great.
everybody to see it.
I think that's great. Now, what tires are on this? Have you got radials on here, or these kind of bias plies?
These are bias ply tires.
Oh, okay.
And the old Magnum 500 chrome rims were really beat up, so I bought a new pair of wheels and found a set of polyglass tires.
Yeah.
Had those put on, so these are the correct tires for this era of car.
And these
red lines as well.
These poly, when you get on an arm ramp, if it says 35 miles an hour and you're going 36, these polyglass will go, yeah. This is awesome. But this is exactly what a 1968 car would drive like in 1968. That's kind of fun. And you know, it's actually quite nice. It's comfortable. Got plenty of headroom. Nice looking car. When you think of American sports cars, you think Mustang and Camaro and Viper and Corvette. Nobody ever thinks AMX, but it really is. It really was a pretty cool car. And if you look up the Bizzarini AMX, the one he did, that one's really wild. Have you ever seen it? It's really a wild looking car. So this is actually your first long distance ride in a car. How does it feel? What do you think?
I love it. I'm actually enjoying this ride.
Yeah. And was the 8-track player still in it when you got it?
No, I had to track one of those down.
Yeah.
And I had it on a box for 2 years. Then when it came time to put it in, of course it didn't work.
Yeah.
So then I had to send it to a radio repair shop, and that doubled the cost of that.
Yeah. And I'm surprised 8-track tapes have got to be pretty old now. You think they just disintegrate as soon as you put them in?
Actually, this morning I tried this tape player for the first time with this tape, and it worked.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
How successful was it? Do you know? Do you remember? Did they sell a lot of them? Was it considered a successful car? Do you know?
American Motors sold approximately a little over 19,000 AMXs.
Wow.
In a 3-year period from 68 to 70.
Well, that's not bad.
This particular car was one of a little over 4,000 made in 1968, and one of about 400 with a 290 automatic transmission combination.
Okay. Well, when cars like this were built, technology was expensive, as labor was cheap. Now it's completely flipped around.
Right.
I mean, when this car was built, I remember a buddy of mine was making $2.50 an hour, and I went, whoa, that's pretty good, $2.50 an hour.
Yeah.
I was at McDonald's for $1.25 an hour. Well, the car now has about 6 miles on the restoration. Obviously, we're not going to do burnouts with this thing because it's a brand new restoration. We'll take it up on the freeway, see how it cruises, then we'll go down a windy road, see how she handles. It's actually a nice driving car. You know, this is not obviously the full-on high-performance model. It's the base model, but it's about similar in performance to maybe a 68 Mustang 289, automatic, you know, base motor. Nice car, nice restoration. Come on, let's take it up on the freeway. Guys have done a nice job on the restoration. The track's nice and true. Got my hands off the wheel, doesn't wander. You hit the brakes, it stops nice and straight. As we said, a couple of little things. Got to fix the horn, 1 or 2 other things, but that's all part of the fun. The real fun is going to literature swap meets and trying to finding the brochures for the car. Have you got a bunch of those?
Yes.
Yeah, that's always kind of cool. All that stuff your mom threw away, now worth a fortune.
Yes.
It takes a secure man to drive a pink car.
That it does. But we had this car, we took every nut and bolt off of this car.
Yeah.
We had it on a rotisserie for a year. Then finally the day came to take it off of the rotisserie. I would have been happy that day just to get that much done. So by this time we had the front and rear suspension on the car. We got the car down off the rotisserie. I would have been happy just getting that much done that day. Then Alan, the builder, says, oh, let's go get the engine and put it in. So we did that. And then he said, well, there's still 2 hours of light left. Let's go get the transmission.
Yeah.
We put that in as well. That just illustrates the pace of his work.
Well, he did a good job. You know, that's the great thing about having cars like this, are the clubs involved. No matter what car you have, there's a club for that car. And you always want to go to those folks for your information and for your parts and the technical knowledge. Plus, you make a lot of friends, too. You should bring us over to the mansion and show Hef.
Well, I'd like to.
Well, what a fun car this is. You know, we spend a lot of times on Camaros and Mustangs and stuff like that. But this is a real rare piece of Americana, built in Wisconsin. And Mark, you did a beautiful job. Congratulations. Thank Alan for me, too. And all the guys in the AMX Club and the AMC Club. You know, that just shows you when you're restoring a car, no matter what car you have, there's a club for it. So contact those people, and those guys will help you out. They love to help out people who have the same vehicles as they do. I know I certainly do, and they've always been very helpful to me. So, again, this is probably one of the most famous AMXs out there. And thanks for debuting it on our show. Mark, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
See you guys next week.
Mm-hmm.